What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos, and we are broadcasting to the world live from Phoenix, Arizona. Starting to cool down here as well, so that's a good thing. Hopefully, I am coming in loud and clear. Big shout out to Christine Robbins, Don Spain. Safe travels, my friend. Keep your eye on the road. Zoe, the Red Queen. I hope you're feeling better today. If you're having a better day than you normally have been. So prayers are with you. Good to see you, Doris. Copper, good to see you. Shane. Who am I missing here? Beth, welcome in. Growing Crazy, thanks for the email. Teresa the Troll. Sherry Copper. Copper Harris. We haven't hit him with this in a while.
Get to the chopper!
Good to see you, my friend. From the other side of the pond. Phil Bond, welcome in. Good to see you. Thin Mint, glad you made it. Amelia, welcome in. Jody Lynn, Timmy. Badass American. Patricia Warner, how are you? Arrow, welcome in. It is a beautiful day. Sylvia, how are you? Welcome in, Caricature. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to some of you. Cindy, good to see you as always. Yikes, Cindy, that sucks. Went by really fast for me. I know the kids were happy to get 3 days off. Mustang, always good to see you. All right, guys, this is what I want to talk about today. A lot of people try to argue this fact, but it's clear as day. Currently at work. I hope you have a great day. Hold it down. Yeah, we just kind of relaxed. Yeah, it was pretty relaxing, actually. We had a great live stream too on the channel yesterday. So if you guys didn't see that, go check that out. Yeah, sleeping doesn't count, you know. That's basically work too. That's just recovery time. All right, let me share my screen. So I think today's live stream is going to be dedicated to the chat. We've gone over a lot of information and we haven't really had time to unpack it or digest the information. So I think that's what we'll do today. Let me go ahead and read this. This is from the Leaked Franks memo. Now, I tried to explain this to a lot of you a while ago, but I think it's easier just to read it from, the source. During one memorable visit on May 4th, 2023. Now, focus on that date or remember that date, May 4th, 2023. Myself, Attorney Baldwin, and Attorney Rosie met with Richard Allen to discuss matters involving the case. At this time, Richard Allen was in a mental and physical state of deterioration and was nearly non communicative. During the visit, Richard Allen repeatedly asked whether or not his wife was okay and if his family was okay. He claimed on a couple of occasions that they were going to kill him. When asked who he was referring to as they, Richard Allen responded by saying, the guys with the Odin patches. All right. So, May 4th, 2023 is the birth of the Odinism theory. And the source, none other than the suspect himself, Richard Allen. Up to this point in the legal process, Richard Allen's defense team had never mentioned Odinites or Odinism to Richard Allen, either directly or indirectly. The first time I'm aware of any mention of Odinite involvement to Richard Allen was during a visit on August 25th, 2023, when Kathy Allen attended. What's up with that? And a discussion occurred between attorney and client regarding ties to the crime scene. So Richard Allen plants the seed on May 4th, 2023. And Richard Allen's defense team starts to run with it on August 25th, 2023. So the evidence didn't point to Odinism. Richard Allen did. How do I know that? Because it says it right here. Up to this point in the legal process, Richard Allen's defense team had never mentioned Odinites or Odinism to Richard Allen, either directly or indirectly. So the first person to bring it up is Richard Allen and the Odinite guards. All right, they're going to get them. Do I think they should be wearing those patches? Absolutely not, especially not in Indiana or even places like Arizona where that kind of stuff, Odinism is really, I guess, prone to prison gangs, racial prison gangs. So, yeah, they definitely shouldn't be wearing those patches at all. So, very interesting. So, let's hear what you guys have to say about that. Good morning to everybody. Who did I miss here? Nice. Enjoy your day off. Caricature. No effects. What's up? You got Fiend in the building. It's weird to pretend. We're pretending. This is the birth of the Odin theory. It is for Richard Allen's defense. Let's look right here. Should I read it again for you, Fiend? Maybe you missed that part. Up to this point in the legal process, Richard Allen's defense team had never mentioned Odinites or Odinism to Richard Allen, either directly or indirectly. Welcome back, Big Fish. You seem a little triggered. Nope, I unblocked you. Don't make me regret it, please. So you have piles and piles of evidence and potential theories to run with, right? We can run with Ron Logan, we can run that route. We can run with Anthony Schatz, Keegan Klein, or maybe some unknown suspects, right? But thanks to Richard Allen, they can now run with the Odinism theory. Let's do some digging, right? Richard Allen's telling me that he's being threatened by the Odinist guards. So by August 25th, 23, we've located all the information relating to Odinism. And I don't even think it was Odinism that they mentioned in regards to the sticks. They said Norse paganism or a ritualistic, right? They didn't really even state Odinism. I thought you said bye. Let's hear it. Right? Let's read this bottom part here. The first time I'm aware of any mention of the Odinite involvement to Richard Allen was during a visit on August 25th, 2023. So once Richard Allen mentions it on May 4th, guess who starts putting the pieces together? Right? This could be our third party suspects. This could cast doubt. Looks like there was a report, what was it? The Odin report, and a couple of investigators who were checking out this angle. Man, look at all the stuff we found on Brad Holder. These are our third party suspects. We got to run with this. This is all we have. But the birth of that theory comes from Richard Allen himself, and this conspiracy or this made up, oh, they're going to kill me, right? Is there any proof of that? Oh, I thought you said bye. I thought you were like being triggered and saying, I'm out of here. Yeah, I want to hear from everybody. Stop trying to put the square peg in the round hole. You have a group of people whose job it is to create doubt. That doesn't mean you have to take it hook, line, and sinker. I appreciate that, Big Fish. Express your opinions. Here we want to agree to disagree. You can tell me it's Odinism. You can tell me it's Brad Holder. You can tell me it's Patrick Westfall. Just don't talk about the family and don't be rude in my chat. That's it. And if you're triggered, and this goes for everybody, you have to ask yourself, why am I triggered? Is it because of my ego? Is it because I've allowed myself to be convinced of something? So now every piece of information pertaining to the case, I have to shape into the form of my own opinion. I think that's the definition of blinders. And like I said, I don't have my blinders on. I'm open to it. I'm open to it. Do I think the crime scene could be ritualistic? Yeah, it could be, because I'm not an expert. Is there any proof of that? Yeah. It could even be maybe even somebody else that's not Brad Holder, Patrick Westfall, Johnny Messer, Elvis Fields. Who's the other guy? Rod Abrams. Maybe it's somebody else. I'm talking about the birth of the theory for Richard Allen's defense team. It was born right here on May 4th, 2023, and I'm putting it right in front of your face. It's right here. Now, if you can address this, Shane, Sleuth, do you think because Odinism is the defense's main defense, the likes of Kagan and Ron, it must be serious no-go area? Well, Rosie and Aki are partners. So when Aki was representing Keegan Klein and Ron Logan, he was partnered with Brad Rosie. So I don't know if there's a conflict of interest there. But you definitely would have a lot more with Ron Logan, right? You can put him at the crime scene. The timeline is a little iffy. Well, it's a lot iffy. You have a lot of things kind of going in Ron Logan's favor, but he definitely is connected to the crime scene. The bodies were found, and a lot of people argue that he looks like the bridge guy. I disagree. And you have a lot of character witnesses. So why not go with Ron Logan? He's not there to defend himself. Well, it's most likely because of the conflict of interest. And if he decides to go against Ron Logan, guess who doesn't get to be on the case anymore? Rosie. That's the last thing he wants, is to be thrown off this case or to know that there's a conflict there. Mint says, when did law enforcement start investigating the Odin theory? A while ago. I think in 2017. I don't know if it was Odinism. I think they were looking at a Norse pagan ritualistic connection. Let's double check. I have the memo up, so we can verify all this information that's being put out by the defense team. I'm pretty sure they talk about it here. They went through Logan Holder's phone before the bodies were even found. That's new to me. Okay, it looks like March 2017. March 2017 that the Odinites were not involved. Unified Command had claimed that it had concluded very early on that Odinites were not involved, despite Leggett and Holman clearing Holder as a suspect in March of 2017, and despite the mystery Purdue professor dismissing all links between Odinism and the murders. So there you have it. Good to see you, Candace. So the one thing I'm noticing about Richard Allen's defense team is that they're not following the evidence anywhere. They're trying to wrap the evidence around their best third-party suspect. You know, that's the only hope for Richard Allen, creating some doubt. They did their best to address the bullet, the search warrant, and any inconsistencies with the probable cause affidavit, exculpatory information, misleading Judge Diener, anything like that. None of that stuck. So the only thing really they have left is these third party suspects, which they didn't go through all of the information in the discovery and say, oh man, I can't believe this. Look at what I found here. Look at this. Look, we have an Odin report. We got this guy, Brad Holder. When you look into Brad Holder, you find Patrick Westfall. Like, this is extremely alarming. That's not what happened. But instead, 5 months later, after Richard Allen's arrest, he comes in playing this character, right? Character in his fantasy. Is my wife okay? Is my family okay? Why, Richard Allen? Why? Tell me why. Why are you so concerned? You seem worked up. Well, the guys with the Odin patches say they're going to kill me and they're going to hurt my family. You don't say. That is a defense attorney's wet dream, right? All they need is something to run with. And then from that point on, they went fishing. And a lot of you are taking the bait. And that's the very reason judges won't allow all of the third party suspects in every case, because it can't be a distraction to the evidence. And a lot of you seem to be extremely distracted because you want it to be this. You want it to follow your opinion. It's like you want it to be this ritualistic murder. It has to be. It can't just be this little old Richard Allen. It can't be as simple as an opportunistic murder. It just can't be. I'm too invested in this. At some point, you just have to admit your own bias, right? And admit that you have these blinders on. Most people who support Richard Allen are firm believers that Ron Logan is the killer. Sherry says the patches on the guards, which ultimately had to be removed, and they should be removed. There's nothing professional about that, especially in the prison where you know that there's gangs in there who represent that or are united with that. And people who follow Asatru, they'll even tell us, like, Odinism is a prison gang thing. It has nothing to do with the religious part of it all. Badass American says, I don't blame Alan's family. From what we've seen, and here's a good example right here, he's a manipulator. If he's guilty, this is 100% pure manipulation. Yeah, good to see you, Candace. Ron Logan had Horse, Baldwin, and Rosie as his attorneys. Well, he had Aki, who was partners with Rosie at the time. They had, they partners at the same firm, so. Yep, and dead men don't talk. But right, if Rosie wanted to go the route of Ron Logan, he would have to remove himself from the case. Can't have that now. Yeah, I don't know about all that. I just know that people came forward and said he was a violent man. That's something that could be possibly admissible. Propensity, I think, is the word. Propensity for violence. I think he already had the tattoo, Sherry. I think it was like a rune tattoo or something. By his eye, maybe. Welcome in, Lulu. Yeah, exactly, Lulu. Everybody's been interested in Logan Holder. That's why they love this theory. And I said it from the beginning when Richard Allen's defense team started going down that road of Brad Holder. All he's doing is following in the footsteps of every web sleuth that ever covered this case. That was their first suspect, Brad Holder. Why? For the same reasons that are listed in the Franks memo. He's got a creepy Facebook. And now that we know what's going on with the crime scene, everybody's like, I told you, I knew it, I was right. But it's not about being right. It's about being right. And I showed you guys the case where another gentleman used sticks to cover his victim. I guess those were runes too, right? He took sticks and they were interwoven to conceal his victim. He even took time to pull all the branches off and everything. So I guess those were runes and the position of the body meant something. Well, if you're looking for something hard enough, you're going to find it. You have to be honest with yourself about those things. Caricature, remember when Ron Logan's wife said she thinks, was it his wife or a girlfriend? Yeah, she definitely said he was abusive. And she thought the bridge guy was Ron Logan. That's what she said. She came forward and stated that. Well, it can't be Ron Logan and Patrick Westfall. So who's right? Ron Logan's ex-girlfriend or wife? I can't remember. Or is it Brad Holder's girlfriend? Or is it Elvis Field's sisters? They can't all be right, guys. They say it can't be Richard Allen because he has no connection with the real killers, Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall. Well, if it's Ron Logan as well, he has no connection with them either. Badass says, had Allen gotten rid of the gun, they'd only have the witness who saw him, not enough to charge him, and being seen admitted he was there. Exactly. If he would have gotten rid of that gun, they would have nothing right now. I agree with that. That's why it was so important for them to keep that information quiet. And I do find it a little strange that the day, a month before Richard Allen was arrested, you had YouTubers who decided to make that public. There was a live stream about it. It was titled 40 caliber bullet. And they talked about how it was found at the crime scene. 1 month later, Richard Allen was arrested. So I don't know. Maybe their hand was forced because they really didn't have anything new. They talk about the lost tip narrative. Let's pull that up. I mean, something is up with that. Here, let's go to the Franks memo about it. These are the footnotes. When Liggett was asked if Doolin made any mistakes in the report that he, Doolin, drafted following his interview, Liggett responded, none that I'm aware of, no. But fellow Unified Command member Jerry Holman had a different answer. Holman said there was an error. I don't know if it was processing or whatever you want to call it, but at some point it got lost in the shuffle and entered incorrectly. Something's up with that. Because even if Doolin didn't, misfiled it or it wasn't filed properly, he still has the training and hopefully the common sense to put two and two together, right? At least you would hope so. I mean, here's Doolin right here on the 22nd, 2 weeks after interviewing Richard Allen. Right there, standing on the stage of the presser. And look at the photo down here they got. They got the photo. Oh, sorry, let me hide that con. They got Richard Allen's photo down here, or the bridge guy's photo. And he's not talking about Richard Allen at all. The one guy who says, yeah, I saw your three main witnesses. So why he didn't put two and two together, I don't know. I just feel like we haven't heard the last of that. What's going on with that lost tip narrative? I don't think we've heard the last of it. Sylvie says, Sleuth, I promise you no law enforcement personnel wearing Odin patches on their uniforms. Strictly lawyer tricks. Well, it was proven that they had them on. It was proven and they were told that they need to take them off. So it's a legit thing. And I believe that they shouldn't be wearing those patches, but they definitely were. One even had a tattoo on his face. Candace Fonseca, I still think it's Richard Allen, got the girls and murdered them, even more so after the blood splatter expert stating that it's not an F, that it was Libby's hand holding herself up on the tree. And we said that on this channel when that information first leaked. We did our due diligence. We didn't just go, oh my God, I was right. Because nobody wanted it to be a ritualistic killing more than us. That's all we talked about. We had some inside information about some type of rune left at the crime scene. We talked about it even before Richard Allen was arrested, right? So nobody wanted it to be some kind of ritualistic killing. It had to be something huge. I mean, how else could this happen? How else could something like this happen in a small town to these girls in this fashion, the middle of the day? It had to be some kind of a conspiracy. It had to be a ritualistic murder. No way it was some little ass Richard Allen who drinks on his porch, works at the CVS, and has a daughter and just plays pool to have fun, right? No way it's that. But sometimes your ego can be your worst enemy. And one thing I've learned in covering true crime, put that ego aside. Follow the evidence, not what you think is evidence, not what your bias is telling you is evidence. Just because you can stack these pancakes to the ceiling doesn't mean there's any butter on them. Confirmation bias at its finest. But the truth is, that bullet is damning evidence, 100%. And you won't see one mention of Richard Allen's alibi in any of these documents. Why is that? So we have a timeline, no alibi, Richard Allen's bullet tying him to the crime scene, and he himself putting himself at the bridge that day around the time the girls. There's some discrepancies there, whether he left at 1:30 or he got there around 1:30. Big Fish says prison guards that were wearing patches and could be attributed to Odin's or a religion that worships a pantheon of gods, including Odin. Yeah, I mean that was proven that that's true, and that shouldn't have happened. I don't care what religious patches you have on; it shouldn't be allowed. Beach Fair. I don't know if the conflict of interest would have been valid anymore now that Ron Logan is dead. Though, to be fair, I mean he's still a suspect. They got to prove it, regardless. They can't use attorney-client privilege against a third-party suspect. It'd be a conflict of interest. So they could do it, but Rosie couldn't. He would have to be removed from the case. I think Baldwin might be able to proceed with it, but not Rosie. So they're definitely not going to use Ron Logan as a third party suspect because then he's got to go bye bye. There goes his free promo and close to $1 million in charges and a $12,000 trip to Georgia to go see Boucher. Apparently, he took a limo. Limo and champagne and God knows what else was in that limo. 12 grand to get a photo that everybody already had. Good to see you, Cindy. Really? I didn't know that. Where'd you hear that, badass? I mean, unless you know for sure, we don't want to go spreading that kind of stuff around. Remember, the truth is stranger than fiction. We don't need to tell lies or follow up with rumors to try to help give weight to this narrative. You know, there's already enough there. It's the Odinism stuff that needs the weight, right? Could there be more there? Yes. But I think if they would have used sticks in a different fashion and the girls just happen to be found with their bodies in a different position, we would still find a way to make it a rune or to fit into this narrative. But the evidence doesn't point to that. But the investigative team, they should be doing their job, right? Like, hey, we don't have any suspects. Why not follow up on this Norse paganism theory? Like, let's go that route. You know, it could lead somewhere. We could be onto something. Let's bring in some experts and let's see what's going on with the sticks and the placements, the placement of the victims, Abby and Libby. And let's see if we can get the rubber to meet the road. But the only reason that the defense team focused in on that was because Richard Allen himself brought it up. And a handful of YouTubers who are already going down this Freemasonic / Kelsey theory started sending all this information to the defense team. And we're talking about creeps. The creepiest of the creepiest. Sees through. I don't know about that. I'm not an expert on what causes a phone to hit the tower. You know, I don't know about all that. That still doesn't say it wasn't Richard Allen coming back to the crime scene. You know what I mean? FBI and local authorities had over a year and a half to search Logan's home and property. I think they searched it twice, the last time being in March of 2017, which is plenty of time to hide evidence, right? What's up, wife Lilith? Logan was a good kid and he's a really good person today. Holders aren't involved. That I don't know. I don't know. I just haven't seen anything tying them to them. You know, is the stuff on his Facebook? Does it look very similar to what's at the crime scene? Yes. Can you connect him to the crime scene? No. Can you connect him to one of the victims? Yes. Logan Holder. Does that mean anything? It could. But right now, no. You can't put him there. Apparently, he was at school and his father has an alibi. What's Richard Allen's alibi? Oh, he doesn't have one. But let's still keep focusing on Brad and Logan, even though they have alibis. We're going to ignore the fact that Richard Allen doesn't have an alibi. And because I want this to be a ritualistic murder, and because I've convinced myself that those are runes, and I've convinced myself that the positioning of the bodies are connected to this Odinism, there you go. It's got to be Brad and it's got to be Logan. And the cops got it wrong. They don't have an alibi, right? So they start twisting and meshing things so that, you got to get rid of that ego. Put the ego to the side, take the blinders off, and keep an open mind because that stuff could be relevant. All it takes is one piece of solid information. So I would never tell you guys to stop digging, right? Keep digging. If just because we haven't found it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And it also doesn't mean that if you do find something that ties them to the crime scene, it doesn't eliminate Richard Allen. So ask yourself, why are you so hell bent on getting Richard Allen off of this and others onto it instead of finding out everyone who could be involved, which could easily include Richard Allen? Like, why? Why do you got to get him? Why are you trying to get him out of there? What is it about Richard Allen? And why are you so bent set? And I'm talking to anybody out there that's kind of leaning towards that. You've allowed yourself to buy into this fairy tale. Anna, welcome in. It's just very strange. The same people that want, who swing their pom poms for Richard Allen, they believe Richard Allen or Ron Logan is probably the guy. And at one point or another, they've accused Kelsey of being involved. You see how fucked up that is? The same people who want Richard Allen off are the same people who went around accusing Mike, Patty, and Kelsey of having something to do with this. Why? Because their ego and everything that they found pointed at that. They can't let it go. And I'm not saying that's an easy thing to do. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Boston. The Royal We, welcome in. Dave G, welcome in. Yes, that's what I'm saying. And that's all the defense is doing. Right? That doesn't mean we have to do it. It's their job to create doubt, to pull together third-party suspects. How else are you going to create doubt? But they have to be connected to the crime in some way. Being connected to the victim is not connecting you to the crime. And the person that's connected to the victim was at school and the father has an alibi. So they say, right? I say keep digging. Why stop digging? If you can put holes in that alibi, why not? But the worst thing is to start arranging the evidence to fit your theory. Yeah, the evidence should be like a paved road underneath your feet. And as you follow it, you're following this road and it's leading you to the truth. You can't just look at the crime scene and be like, oh, I knew it was runes. I knew it was ritualistic, when that's still up for debate. You have to have a strong foundation when it comes to this, right? You don't want to build on the sand. You just don't. And the Odinism stuff is their foundation is on the sand. It's based solely on the interpretation that those sticks and the positioning of the girls' bodies and Libby's tree is all part of like a blowout ritual. And they even have the guys who did it. The only thing they don't have is any factual information. I mean, if you can show me one piece of factual information, I'll listen to it. Anna, the bicycle bridge road search warrant, yeah, the Maxwell warrant issued early in the investigation seems to have mentioned the 40 caliber weapon. It did. But not only that, Brad Weber, his search warrant mentioned it, and he publicly told people like Julie Melvin. She knows everything about this case. She knows factual information and speculative information. So I'm not sure if she wasn't sure whether or not it was viable, but I'm pretty sure she's the one that made that public. Well, no, she's not the one that made it public. She told somebody, I believe, and the YouTuber made it public, but she was their source. Gilletta says, I think there's too many suspects surrounding this case, so they had to go with the simplest, easiest narrative. I don't think they went with any narrative. According to them, they found a lost tip and said, oh shit, why, how did we overlook this? According to them. And that gave them cause to go search Richard Allen. I don't think we've heard the last of that lost tip narrative. And what the hell was going on with it? So, as much as you hate Patrick Westfall and Brad Holder and all these guys, why are you so in love with Richard Allen? The guy who has been proven that he was there that day around the time the girls went missing, the guy who fits the description, and the guy who they're going to scientifically prove is connected to the crime scene. Why are you in love with that guy? I mean, truly, what is your reasoning for that? It baffles me. Yeah. Shane says common sense is the perfect term for the DD situation. I hope he's not a scapegoat for others' mistakes. And I think we may learn more about that. Leggett says, nope, he didn't make a mistake. Holman says, yes, he did. He fucked up. And I could see Holman throwing him under the bus. But man, it's just hard to understand how the hell he overlooked that. Let's say he did misfile it and he made a mistake. How does he not come to the investigative team and says, hey, I haven't heard much about this Richard Allen Whiteman guy? Have you guys had a chance to interview him, do a search warrant? None of that shit. Very strange. What's up, Heather? Hey, Farmer. Yeah, he's a lieutenant. Fully trained. He's the big shot. If the bodies were found in the water, He would be the lead on this investigation. So it makes you wonder why they were found on Ron Logan's property. Makes you wonder. And I don't want to accuse anybody, but Farmer has a point. We're talking about a seasoned professional here. There could only be 5 other guys on a list that were there when the girls went missing. One being Richard Allen Whiteman. Yeah, and then you have to consider the ability of a sociopath, right? The ability to manipulate. I call it the Jedi mind trick. Little old me. The guy in a room filled with people and he's invisible. What's up, Miracle Hearts? Welcome in, Jessica. What a heartache for the families. When will somebody pay the price for what was done to the girls? Well, once they throw out the Odinism stuff, and they may or may not, I think they will, because we kind of looked at what is admissible when it comes to third party or alternate suspects. They have to have a clear connection to the crime in some way. And it's hard to have a clear connection to a crime when the people that you're trying to use to connect them have alibis. That eliminates everything. You don't have Patrick Westfall connected to the crime scene. He's connected through Brad Holder, who's connected through his son, who's dating the daughter. And the crime scene kind of fits with stuff that they're into. Not to mention Brad Holder's ex-wife stating that he actually confessed in a way or blamed Patrick Holder. But remember, he's a heavy drinker. He was accused from the very beginning of being involved. So who knows why people do what they do? So you have him confessing that it was Patrick Westfall. You have Kagan Klein saying it was him and his dad. You have Ron Logan's ex saying that it was Ron Logan. You have Elvis Fields admitting to being there. He has no connection to Patrick Westfall or Brad Holder. But none of that matters, right? Yeah, I don't think he should be wearing that. Like, I believe in religious freedom, but if you're working at a prison and there's known to be Odin, quote unquote Odinism, which is a racist pagan gang, I just don't see how that could be allowed. I think there should be an investigation into that further, not just, hey, don't wear that. I think there should be a real investigation. I think it could lead to something. Maybe they can find a connection there. Chase every avenue because it's nothing until it's something. But right now, the only something we have is Richard Allen with no alibi, who was at the trails around the time the girls went missing, fits the description of the bridge guy. And scientifically, they're going to prove in a court of law that his bullet was ejected from the gun they found during a search warrant at his home, among other things that we're not even aware of. For all we know, there's other witnesses that have come forward. I'm not quite sure, Shane. Take care. Thin Mint, have a great day. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, Farmer, I agree. Something ain't right. Something ain't right. Three things, only three things are possible there. He's complicit and involved, he's incompetent, or he's taking the fall, and we'll learn more about it when it's said and done. And all three are not good. All three are not good. Amanda says very early in interviews, investigators had described the crime scene as extremely perverted and complex with staging and signatures. I don't remember the word perverted being used. Career criminal suspected, not the manager at a local CVS. Exactly. They didn't start even talking about this guy hiding in plain sight until the FBI got involved. When their behavioral analysts started creating a profile. I mean, it's possible that the positioning of the bodies mean nothing. It's possible that the sticks were there to conceal and that Libby's tree is just a palm print. Right? Because if those aren't runes and the positioning aren't some kind of signature and the handprint is from the victim, which would make sense, then the Odinism stuff, it doesn't have feet. No legs on that thing. Thank you, Carrie. All right, let me zip down here. Let's go to Anna. Was reported by somebody that after a pool tournament, Richard Allen said something to his wife like, beat the blank out of you on the way home, not known if a joke or what. Yeah, I mean, it's just rumor at this point. Also, we know that he was hospitalized. I mean, that's a fact. Don't know the details. I always assumed it was some kind of ultimatum. Cop shows up and be like, well, your wife wants you to go to detox. You can go to jail or detox. What's it going to be? Well, I'll go to detox. That would have been in Logansport, I believe. What that was all about, I can't tell you. Hopefully somebody can dig up those facts. Like I said, there's no reason to stop digging. It's nothing until it's something. And right now, the Odinism stuff is nothing. It's a weak attempt from a defense team to distract and create a third party suspect, which its sole purpose is to create doubt. And we're not even sure if it's going to be allowed in. Once it's not going to be allowed in, I'm pretty sure we'll get that plea. A plea deal. They'll probably tell Richard Allen, we'll keep you here. We won't put the death penalty on the table, but you're not going to be able to appeal. You know, this is it. And you might have to give us certain details. Not everything, right? He needs something out of this deal as well. They need to offer him something. Keeping his family out of the limelight, keeping certain details out of the public could be considered beneficial to Richard Allen. Also, I feel like he's acclimated. You know, he's probably accepted his fate. So if they can put a cherry on top, life sentence, no possibility of parole, no ability to appeal the case, no death penalty, and we'll keep you somewhat close to your family. Lala says, I did see a text from a dude who was at the pool hall from Richard Allen, did threaten KA. Can't confirm it. It's legit, but it's out there. Yeah, send it to me. I'll put it up on the screen. But stuff in these Facebook groups, you have You have these people who are so set that this was Odinism and that Richard Allen is being set up or is the fall guy, that they have literally gone out there and created sock accounts or catfish accounts as Dr. Walla, as people connected to the case in order to help their narrative. And they justify it because they've allowed themselves to be convinced. They're saying to themselves, I'm 100% convinced this was a ritualistic murder. Therefore, I'm justified in these actions. Thank you, Tree Hugger. I appreciate that. Charlotte, welcome in. What was non secular about the crime scene? I think that was a retraction, but I know for a fact that it was printed because I had it in a video. I had the screenshot of the article in one of my first videos. I need to go back and try to find that for you guys. But if you go back and find the article now, it's not in there. And I believe that Robert Ives has even come forward and stated, I never said that. Like that was a misquote. And that was us wanting to fit that square peg into a round hole. It's non secular. It's got, some kind of ritual. And that's what we thought from the beginning. It had to be something grandiose. It's just, your mind can't fathom that Richard Allen, little old Ricky, with no criminal history, nothing but speeding tickets. I don't know. Maybe some of you sleuths out there can follow up on those speeding tickets. The two of them were deemed criminal. What was he running from? Was he traveling? What was he doing? Joel Rifkin, that's how he got busted. He was speeding. And he had no plates. They put Ron Logan through the ringer and didn't find anything to charge him. No, they didn't. Fiend says, right. Y'all should love the phone going off in the middle of the night. Don't forget, y'all love the idea of him going. Y'all, what is y'all? It's not us versus you, Fiend. Y'all love the idea of him going back in the middle of the night on a motorcycle. Not once have you heard me say that. But for you, the phone was definitely turned on by what? One of the Odinists? One of the cops who are helping to cover it up? Like, I can't explain it. For all I know, the phone got wet. I don't know a whole lot about the iPhone 6, but I know that phones do weird shit. Like when you don't have service and then you do have service, you'll get a whole shitload of missed calls and voice messages and things like that. So for you to just discount that, you're just projecting your bias. You have your blinders on, man, like 100%. You're already convinced. So everything that comes out, you're going to smash it into that peg. You're going to smash that peg into the square peg into the round hole. It's going in there. You don't care how. If you got to shave off some of the sides, turn that peg into a circle, piece by piece, you're going to do it. And I'm not saying it's nothing, because it could be something. Right now, it's nothing. Beachberry says it would be good to find early news broadcasts from the time to see what's changed in terms of what they say. I mean, they kept the bullet, they've kept that secret pretty well. Have to applaud them on that. I think they kept that quiet as long as they could. Fiend says, do you just drop the theories when there's finally evidence for it? What theories? Like the Richard Allen theory? Yeah, if you can show me his alibi, and if he was out of there by 1:30, oh, hell yeah. But the fact that you're ignoring that, I'm just not I'm not understanding that. And even if it is a ritualistic murder, why is Richard Allen not there? Why is he not part of it? I just don't get all of that. I don't get it. Let's go to Sensei's 8-month flex. Before we do that, let's hit them with that Johnny Lawrence.
We do not train to be merciful here. Mercy is for the weak. Here, on the street, in competition.
Sensei says, hello, Sleuth. Hope all is well. Yes, things are well. I hope everything is well with you. Justice for Abby and Libby. Thank you for that, Sensei. Don't forget to give Sleuth Intuition a thumbs up and like the video. Yeah, thumbs up or a thumbs down. Whatever. 14-month flex by Boston. Abby and Libby, Kiana, Kiari, Kiani, and Cariel. Thank you for that, Boston. Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you guys for sponsoring today's live stream and all you members and mods. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Welcome in, not your mother's tarot. It's not ritualistic. It was meant to look ritualistic. Yeah, I mean, we've learned a lot about crime scenes that have been staged, right? The whole purpose in most cases is to make it look like something that it wasn't. Do I agree with that? I don't know. To me, it looks like he was interrupted. He wanted the girls to be clothed for whatever reason, and he wanted to remove his DNA. I think he was interrupted in that. In the last minute, he chose to cover them with sticks on his way out. But yeah, I mean, if Richard Allen's the killer, he is the one and only absolute crime scene expert when it comes to the Delphi case. Nobody knows more about that crime scene than him. So he'll be the one to tell us what the hell he was doing. Was he trying to make it look like something it wasn't? Was he stalking Abby and he was fully aware of Logan and his father? And the shit that he was doing on his Facebook with sticks? I mean, remember, he's the one that brought it up to his defense team. It could be part of whatever strategy. If anybody's going to develop a strategy, it's going to be Richard Allen. Kitty Wambalista, thank you so much for your support. You're very generous. Not your mother's tarot. Did we ever determine the rumor regarding Abby being pregnant? Yeah, that came from Highbrow. And that's what put everybody on Logan Holder on everybody's radar. So I'm pretty sure that's been debunked. Because, I mean, that would give motive right there. If she was pregnant and they can prove that it was Logan Holder's child, they would have DNA. Not only DNA, but motive. So I think it's pretty easy to debunk that. Thank you, Mustang. Thank you for that, Mustang. Anna says ritualistic could simply have to do with an offender's messed up fantasies. Yeah, why can't this be some kind of a ritualistic murder and Richard Allen is the one responsible? I don't understand all of that. So I need you guys to help me. All the evidence points that Richard Allen was there that day and was there at the crime scene. And we know all the clothing was wet. We know that the girls were most likely redressed. Why would you do that? Well, for one, you don't remember who's wearing what. and all that's important to you for whatever is going on with this profile of this killer, he killed those girls to hide the fact that he's a sexual sadist, right? He couldn't control himself. He did what he did, and now nobody's going to find out about it. Well, if they go out there and your DNA's all over the place and the girls are not dressed or partially dressed, you're going to prison. And they're going to understand that some creepy guy that was there was attempting or did sexually assault Abby and Libby. That's going to point to him. But if for whatever reason he can get them redressed and, maybe stage the crime scene, make it look like something that it wasn't, maybe he could change the narrative somewhat. But most importantly, him getting his DNA off of the clothing, if he's struggling with these girls, his DNA is all over the place. And it could be worse than that. But the one girl who was left still undressed, it was her clothing that was found in the water. So if he's being interrupted by Brad Weber, who was coming home at 3:45, and 10 minutes later you have Muddy guy walking down the street, well, he's going to run away from the clothing that's in the water that he's trying to scrub. Up, here comes Brad Weber up the street. Oh shit. Leaving the clothes, going back to the crime scene, getting himself redressed most likely, and covering the girls and making his way out through the cemetery onto 300 where he is spotted. I mean, even that timeline just makes perfect sense. Welcome in, Mark Collins. Come on, people. You can't believe a 50-year-old pharmacy tech with no record was the guy to set up. I mean, make it make sense. Well, I mean, he was there. Maybe they hid the tip, right? Maybe let's play devil's advocate. They kept the tip on the back burner, waiting until they could switch out the bullet. But then again, that's a crime in itself. It's a felony right there. Then you have to have motive for doing that. To make Liggett the sheriff? You're telling me that Holman had motive to make Liggett the sheriff? Explain that to me. So good comment, Mark. Yeah, I agree with that, Miracle. Candace, right? Everyone's a victim. Little old Ricky. He's being set up. And it does happen. People are falsely convicted all the time. But I just have to ask the question, what's his alibi? He's proven that he's a little out there, right? Drinking toilet water and all that kind of stuff. So he's obviously a little bit, he's showing signs of a personality disorder in some form or fashion. Just James, good to see you. Anna says, we all expected a career criminal to be removed from society. A Kurtz or Chadwell, for instance. Well, we learned early on that there was no DNA, I think the quote was, it's like this guy had never committed a crime before. Well, that fits with Richard Allen, but it also tells us that they have DNA. But why haven't we heard about this DNA? Well, it may not be a great match, but it cannot exclude Richard Allen, with a high probability that it's him. Yep, I agree, Mark. All right, guys, this is going to be our 10-minute warning. I'll try to catch up on the chat. If you need to get a hold of me, you can always email me directly at sleuthintuition@gmail.com. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with him. He's not a cop anymore. Beach Ferry, he works for the fire department. Whatever that means. Dave G says, I wonder if all those who are pro Richard Allen would like him to be their neighbor tomorrow. Yeah, I always said you want him to watch your kids. Or if he didn't remember the name, how about that manager that works at CVS? Did you even talk to him? Yeah, it's just so strange. And very strange. The whole Doolin lost tip, all of that, blaming it on the FBI blaming it on local law enforcement. It's all just very strange. He shouldn't have filed the tip. He should have carried it over to the lead investigator. Well, I'm telling you, if Richard Allen is responsible for killing Abby and Libby in the middle of the day, he's somebody that he's able to manipulate others. He's most likely a violent sociopath. And about why are people in love with Richard Allen? I think people don't like thinking they could easily be fooled by a normal guy. Well, I think they try to relate to him. They put themselves in his position and they say, "Well, I'm normal. This could happen to me." It's more of like a hatred for law enforcement or a belief that all law enforcement is corrupt. And I think to a degree I agree with that. I don't trust law. I'm not pro law enforcement. I'm sorry, I'm just not. Um, I have my own reasons. I keep those reasons private to myself. But we need them. We need them to press these charges. They're part of the system. So instead of blaming law enforcement, I think we need to fix that issue. We need more stringent laws about how cops conduct themselves and what it means to be a professional in law enforcement. There should be stricter laws if you're planting evidence, things like that. Like they should have fail safes for all of that. So I'm not pro prosecution. I'm not pro law enforcement by any means. Um, but we do need them, and I think that there needs to be a lot of work done when it comes to that kind of stuff. Fiend says maybe that's why they cleared him. Clearly, Whiteman isn't involved. Yeah, he doesn't. Little old Whiteman. Yeah, I interviewed this guy Whiteman. He seems harmless. They got the blinders on. I think they were hoping it was Keegan Kline right from the get-go. They chased that. They were almost certain Anthony Schatz had something to do with this. When it was little old Whiteman doing the Jedi mind trick, the sociopath that nobody could see, the guy hiding in plain sight. Yep, I agree with that, Beach Fairy. Yeah, and just remember what Doug Carter said. One day I hope to tell you guys. But now's not that time. I hope you all hold him to it, because I will, especially you folks from Indiana. You got some splaining to do. Yeah, very wise, Farmer. I'm telling you, if Richard Allen is the man who killed Abby and Libby, he's extremely intelligent. His proactive approach could be the very reason that they couldn't search his home, right? Him meeting at a grocery store might make it harder to actually record the conversation. And maybe even his ability to show up at the grocery store and people walking by are waving at him. Hi, Rick. Hi, you know. Maybe he was with his daughter. Whatever it was, he could have looked harmless. He's doing that sociopathic Jedi mind trick. Okay, let's go down to Jill Etta. I want to believe they have the right guy, but I know how sketchy the justice system is. And it is. We've done plenty of live streams on people who have been forced into confessions, wrongly convicted, and even when they find the right guy, they still lie. They'll keep you in prison and they'll try to retry you, even though they have all the evidence they need to exonerate you. That's wicked. So that's why I will never be pro law enforcement, ever. I'm pro victim and I'm pro victim's family and friends. That's it. Pro truth, whatever that may be. Like I said, don't stop digging. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. That goes for Keegan Klein and that goes for the Odinism stuff as well. And also maybe something more solid on Richard Allen. We'll do a few more. Let's go to Fiend. Let's all pretend that Westfall lived closer to the crime scene than Allen. Let's all pretend he didn't live in Delphi. Yeah, he did. That's why the defense is mentioning him. And that's why they even tried to tie him to Flora. But how do you tie him to the crime scene? I think that's the question. He passed a polygraph test. Apparently, his son can corroborate his alibi. But I still don't hear you asking the question, what is Richard Allen's alibi? Why is that? I just don't understand that. Let me beat this square peg into the round hole. God, you're going in there. You're gonna fit. Because I want you to fit. You're gonna fit. This all has to be true. You can't tell me I'm able to stack my pancakes to the roof and tell me I need butter. No. Something's there. And something could be there. But right now, I see absolutely nothing. I see a weak attempt at creating third party suspects, and I see a group of individuals who have taken it hook, line, and sinker for whatever reason. I'm assuming it's because they were leaning towards, and trust me, I wanted to go all in on the ritualistic, crime scene. And I was there. I was there before anybody. Go back and watch my live streams. All we talked about was the possibility that this was a ritualistic murder and why we thought that. The evidence just doesn't point at that. And if it was a ritualistic killing, it appears that Richard Allen was involved. Hey, Ivy Rose. In my opinion, the positions of the bodies is due to how they were moved, and the sticks meant something to him personally. I think the difference in the way they were treated is the most important. Could be. Follow up. Plus, why would somebody say non secular instead of religious? Well, non secular doesn't mean religious. I think it means like specific to Christianity, right? Anything could be religious. Odinism is religious, I guess. T. Lemon says, are there any of Little Ricky's friends or family members who have come out to speak on his behalf or tell about any of his bad things? Well, one of his friends came forward and they showed an image of the bridge guy, and he basically said that he knew that it was Rick, but that he had been cleared. And his family is sticking by him. A lot of people are questioning what his daughter's up to, but I guarantee she's sticking by him. All right, let's hit one or two more, and then I got to get out of here. Hey, Julia. Welcome in. Sorry, Boston accidentally deleted your message. Welcome in.
Excellent.
Good to see you. Happy birthday to Julia. Timmy, then why does he have a motorcycle cover and what is he doing with it? Well, the whole motorcycle stuff comes from the Discovery Index that was leaked. And I believe the motorcycle he has was given to him was inherited most likely by Johnny Walker, who passed away September 16th of 2016, or September 27th, I believe, due to complications. Thank you, Cindy. Yeah, if you guys could hit that like button on the way out, make sure you guys go and share this. Charlotte says, did Richard Allen have accurate details of the crime scene before or after seeing the case file? Because at first his account was not accurate. It's a good question. I'm sure they're going to argue that in court, but that is a great question. If it makes it to trial, the confessions are going to be a big ordeal, big part of this. Because he could be doing that on purpose, right? That guy didn't shoot those girls knowing damn well that he stabbed them. A lot of people do that. Even people who end up being considered criminally insane instead of, guilty by reason of insanity, even those folks go through the trial trying to act, I don't know, what's the word, feigning? Trying to act as if they're crazy, even though they really are. So, it's very tricky, guys. Very tricky. Brenda, welcome in. Yep, first time for everything. For all we know, there's more. I don't know. Maybe all those speeding tickets were him fleeing the scene of another crime. Might be something you guys want to look into. I don't know, Ivy. I mean, it has to be an international cover-up. It has to be a conspiracy because they're going to scientifically prove that that bullet came out of his gun. In order for that to be true, somebody planted it there or fucked with the chain of custody. So I wish I could agree with you, but that's just not true. Right field, what's up? Welcome in. We're about to get out of here. True crime fangirl, good to see you. Who else did I miss? Oh, thank you, Julia. Are you covering the Hae Min Lee Aiden Sanan case? Yep, I'm working on that right now. I think we might save that for the members only. But yep, I'm putting that together. So if you guys want to email me on that. Oh, that's another effed up case. So we're going to do a deep dive into that case here. Probably, I don't know, maybe Saturday or Sunday. But yeah, if you have anything interesting on that case, shoot me an email. All right, this will be the last one from Charlotte. My opinion is Richard Allen did it. Well, the evidence points to Richard Allen, but it bothers me that law enforcement showed they had blinders on pursuing KK. Yeah, I agree. With KK, and I think the FBI had their blinders on with Ron Logan. Makes me doubt that they actually did and opened their horizons in order to make a good case. I agree with that. Welcome in, Renee, Gail McCauley. Nicely done. Welcome in. I think it's possible, nicely done, that he did tell somebody close to him. T Lemon, always good to see you. All right, guys. Sorry I couldn't get to all of your comments. I do apologize. No effects. Thank you so much. Big shout out to Carrie, Boston Christian, Sensei, Boston Christian again with the flex, 14-month flex. Those guns. Sylvia, thank you so much. Glad to see you in the live chat. Julia, happy birthday to you. And yep, we're going to do a deep dive in that and in no effects. I appreciate all of you guys. All right, that's it for today's live stream. If you need me, hit me up at sleuthintuition@gmail.com. I'm out of here. Peace.